Today we're going to create a flow in PowerAutomate to emulate a mail merge, and it's kind of simple and straightforward. So I thought I'll document the whole process for future reference. So this is what you do. Go into your Microsoft Business account to the waffles and select Power Automate, which I've already done. And in Power Automate, you can select My Flows. That's what I've done here. And I'm going to create a new flow. Click New Flow. I'm going to use an automated cloud. I'm going to use an instant cloud flow. Select that. And I want to trigger the flow manually. So I'm going to select manually trigger. And I'm going to call it mail merge. Click create. So you can see the name of your flow. It's mail merge. You can change it later if you need. So we're going to create a flow which will be triggered manually. The first step we're going to do is we want to use Excel. Okay, we're going to use an Excel file which is actually saved in a OneDrive in your business account. So let's go down, scroll down and select what we need. We're going to actually list rows present in table. That's what we're going to select first. Okay, so we want the Excel file and we're going to look at the different rows in the Excel file, and that's what we're going to do. And now we have to actually go and select the location. So first let's go and look at the Excel file. So this is the Excel file that I have created. So I have got the first name, the last name, Mark, email address. I've used the same email address because I'm just testing this and I want to see the results. They will all be emails sent to the same account so that I can actually see it. You can actually put in the actual email of these people so that will all go to the different people and they will be addressed appropriately. And we also have the grade. Now, in order to use this, what we need to do is we need to create a table. This is how we do that. Select all the data that we need to be included in the mail merge, and then go to insert and we click table. My table has header, so we will select that and click OK. So now we have created a table. Now one of the other things I like to do is I like to name the table. So I'm going to call it my marks. By default, it will name as table 1, table 2, table 3. It goes like that. And just to show you that I have given a different name here so that we can identify it easily. That's what we need. So I've done that. I've saved the file. And now we go back to Power Automate. And in Power Automate, the first step that we chose was list rows present in the table, which we just created. And now we have to identify the location. So we are using OneDrive for Business because the file was saved in OneDrive for Business. Selected that. And in that, I actually have about 3 OneDrive folders. And I know that the second one is the correct folder where I have located these files. So that's the document library. And then I'm going to select the file by clicking on the folder icon here. And if you come down, actually I've saved the file in this particular folder which says video pp. So click on that. And now it gives you Power Automate. That's the name of the Excel file that I've used. So I've selected that. And once I select that, then I have to choose the name of the table. It has to be unique. So if I click on it, by default, it shows me all the tables. So the first one was a previous file that I used or table that I used. So I'm going to select my table here, my marks here. That's the table that I want to use. Because if you go back to the Excel file, on sheet 2, I have this table over here. If you look at the name, it's my marks. In sheet 1, I have a table here again, and if I go, it's called marks. So I just want to differentiate between them. So it doesn't matter how many sheets you have. If you name the table appropriately, there should be unique names. So we have that. So we have identified the location of the file and the table, and now we have to add the next step. So we can save this as we go along. So make sure that we don't lose this in case we accidentally close the file. So next, we will select the next step. We will choose control. In control, we will do apply to each. That's what we need. We want to apply to each row in the table so that we can send a mail to every person with an email address on it. So we will select apply to each. And now here we have to actually select dynamically the values from the Excel table. For that, we will choose the default value, which is called list of items, which you can see over here. It's called value. You don't actually name it. It by default names it. We will select value. Now, all the values are going to be taken from here. That's what we're going to do. So now you have selected the table in your Excel, which you're going to use. And now we're going to add an action. After it goes through each of these values, or after it applies to each of these rows, we will send an email. That's what we need to do. So we will select the next option and click on mail. So once we have selected mail, what are we supposed to do? Send an email notification. That's what we're going to do. And now here we have the email client that we are setting up. And for that, we have to start with the list of email addresses. So if you go to the dynamic list or the content from the table, so you have the first name, last name, mark, and email. So I'm going to select email. So all the email addresses for each row will come from here. Then the subject. So this is a mark for your science test. That's what you have. So I'm going to address it to the person. Hi. And I'm going to address them, call them by the first name and a comma. This is your mark in science. And I want the value to be entered here. So I'm going to select the dynamic value, select mark. And the mark is represented in percentages. So I put percent and period. Your grade is, again, I can go down to this and select grade and period. That's the mail. I can add any information I need. I can actually add more information by adding them on the Excel table. Right now, I just want to show and document my steps. That's all. So okay, so technically we are done. We have set up the email client, the email information in the client here, and we will save this file right now. And we can also add the date on which we are sending. So we can go down here and click. If you drop down, you'll see a number of options here. We're going to select date. That'll give you the date on which you are sending this email individually to each of the students. So let's save it. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we can do a flow check to see if there are any errors that I indicated. None. So we will go to test. We're going to manually trigger it and we're going to test it. Okay, everything seems to be right. We are going to continue. And now we're going to run the flow. Your flow run successfully started. To monitor it, you can go to this flow runs page. That's one way to do it. Or you can click on done. You can still see whether the flow is running or not. Okay, let's do flow. I've noticed that it takes a little bit, about 5 minutes to run the whole thing. I don't know why, but it does send the email to all the individuals one at a time. The whole flow has completed. Okay, now it says that your flow ran successfully. It took about 5 minutes to run. Normally it should be shorter. For some reason it's taking 5 minutes. but it did run, so that's a good thing. So let's go back once. So these are the mails. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mails we have in our Excel file. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 names, and we have received 6 emails. So we will check out each email. So that is Emily. She's got 45% and her grade is F. Let's check the Excel. Emily is the last one. She's got 45% and she's got an F, so it's right. Let's look at the others. So if you go to Sarah, she's got a 90 and she's got a B according to the grading that we have done there. So you'll see that each of the students, they get a personal mail, and we can actually add information on a personalized basis by writing comments on the Excel if that is something that you want to do. So that's one of the advantages I have seen. I've added information, but this kind of gives me a documentation of how to create a mail merge using email addresses and different marks for different students. And that's it for now.